shit for your shit. Feel it now, 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 now. Think about it later. Feel it now, 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 now. Think about it later. Feel it now, 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 now.
We will be back with the new season of the Multiple Champions Rapport in 2022.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
So that I give him up a phone. He wants to be even rude. Hi, I'm Grandmaster Judith Polgar, and I'm here to welcome you in the Chessable classroom. It combines a shared chessboard with live video. Teachers get to interact on the chessboard with their students and even run quizzes and tournaments. I really love what Chessable Classroom can offer. I use it myself all the time. Just invite students to your classroom and start teaching right there. No downloads needed, and it's for free.
When I saw her for the first time, it was love at first sight. I love how rich and complex she is, how sharp and principled her first steps, how graceful her movement. Paris is the city of love. I've come to find my love for the French defense.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the endgame with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Silecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
I'm ahead of the game.
Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically, I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. David has finished his exercise for today. John should try the same.
Welcome everybody!
My name is Jan Nepomniachtchi,
former world chess champion.
Are starting a new course here for Chessable.
A very special Chessable course.
Master your chess with Judith Polgar.
You know what? I learned a lot.
E5, it's E5 Patzers.
A complete repertoire against 1E4 based on 1E5, now available to study with Chessable's unique Move Trainer technology. The backbone is the Marshall Gambit against the Spanish, with 3 Knight F6 against the Italian. Jan Gustafsson has revisited all these lines he has played for 20 years and worked on as a second for Peter Lecko and Magnus Carlsen, amongst others, with the help of the most powerful engines out there, Leela 0 and Stockfish 10. This has led to many new discoveries and a repertoire ready to master on Chessable that can serve the student for a long chess career.
Maybe E4 doesn't exist after all.
E5, it's...
Welcome everybody, how are you doing today? Because it's a very, very exciting day ahead of us. It's the tie breaks of the FIDE Grand Prix Berlin stage. The pool matches have been finished, and today in 2 groups we are going to find out the remaining 2 semifinalists who will join Levon, Aronian, Hikaru Nakamura in the semifinals. So today with you will be woman FIDE master Ellen Nilssen and me, Grandmaster Arturs Neiksans.
And Arturs, you know, we were talking about who was actually going to play these tie breaks, but one thing I did not expect was that we would have tie breaks between Wesley So and Lenier Dominguez.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, if you remember, which round was it? Round 4, right? When Wesley So beat Dominguez with the black color. So it seemingly it was all over for Lenier. And no, he was able to come back and thus catch Wesley So, who yesterday had a commanding lead against Pentala Hare Krishna, but once was unable to convert it to the win. Thus, they're going to fight it out for a tiebreak. Really, really exciting. And the second match is going to be between Richard Rapport and Wojtaszek.
Yeah, we were talking about how Pool B was so close, so exciting. It was Fedoseev, it was Wojtaszek and Rapport. They were all playing for going into these tiebreaks or winning the groups alone. But it was Rapport who won on demand with the black pieces. And, you know, I was not doing the commentary here with you, but I was watching a little bit from the side. And I'm just asking, like, how many winning positions has Wojtaszek thrown in the first stage?
Something like 4. I'm not sure, 3 or 4. And probably, Ellen, you also watched the interview after yesterday, and Radoslav, of course, also mentioned this. He knows that this is not great. So when the interviewer asked him, are you happy about being so close to the semifinals? He said, of course, normally I would be quite happy, but now I simply cannot forget that I've had those great positions. It easily could have been +3 or 3 wins, no losses, but instead he still has to fight the tie breaks against a player who made an amazing comeback when everybody thought that he has the lowest chances in his group, which is Richard Rapport.
Yeah, and, you know, I just have to say, I think it's such a shame for Wojtaszek, because it seems like he has been playing very, very well, but then there in the final moments when it really mattered, he just couldn't pull through. But not to worry, because he does have the chance against Richard Rapport. And, you know, I cannot forget Richard Rapport's beautiful win. I don't remember if it was round 2 or 4, but you know, when I say this, you're going to remember King G3, King H4, King
Against
G5
Fedoseev, yeah.
against Fedoseev. I mean, what a win.
Right.
And Wesley's win against Lanier with the black pieces in round 4, as you were also saying. And, you know, it's just all these players that are playing in the semifinals, they're just so good. And let us just quickly remind the viewers of what we have here in the tie breaks, because we do have 2 games, like a little mini match, 2 games between the players, 15 minutes plus a 10-second increment. And as it says here on the screen, if the players are still tied after the 2 games, there will be blitz played 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. And if that is still tied, we are going to have Armageddon games. And the games after both of the rapid games, after the first round of the rapid games, they have finished, then there will be a 15-minute break. But don't worry, we will be here, guide you through the games, and make sure that we don't miss any single second of any of the action.
Yep, exactly. So we are waiting for the games to start, and 2 rapid games, 2 blitz games if necessary, Armageddon game. You know, Ellen, the only thing I really hope that there's not going to be 2 Armageddon games, at least at the same time. Whoa, that was
that was a lot of moves very quickly.
That was like hyper bullet, no?
Yes. Arturs, before we start doing all this commentary, I just want to ask you, who are your favorites for today? Who do you think are going to come through here?
That is a very good question. Speaking about Wojtaszek against Rapport, I pulled their stats, what they've played so far. Wojtaszek usually is scoring better against Rapport in classical games, and if my calculations is correct, he leads 3 wins to 1, including the victory in the very first round in the pool stage of this very tournament. But the rapid and the blitz games, they have quite few, and they have played back in 2013 European blitz and rapid championships, where Rapport won in the rapid section the sole game, and Wojtaszek was victorious, won the cup against half a point in the blitz section. But you know, really, I don't think it's really relevant because they haven't played so much accelerated time control games between them.
Yeah. I have to say, I think, I was about to say, I think Wesley So is the favorite between him and Dominguez, just because of all his great play during the Magnus Carlsen chess tours. And of course, it's difficult to root against Richard Rapport. But, you know, let's start with the commentary here. Both like...
King's Indian, some sort of a King's Indian. So we're going to use the same board. Not much to see here. This is a very conventional way how to play against King's Indian. The bishop goes to G2, very positional, maybe instead of the slightly more aggressive pawn grab of the center. Queen B6, H3, a bit careful move. Again, there's a number of ways how white can place this. I guess idea is that after E4, black can immediately challenge the pawn on D4. That's why H3 is a good addition to stop bishop G4. So Queen A6 targets the pawn on C4, B3, B5 is a very interesting counterplay from Rapport.
Yeah, Rapport seems definitely to be well prepared, but I bet that Wojtaszek here is still in book, knows what he's doing, just trying to recollect what is happening. I have never seen this exact position of the King's Indian. The queen seems a little bit oddly placed on A6, but on the other hand, black has developed quite a few pieces and the position is not as cramped as it can sometimes be.
I've seen at least quite a typical position, but yeah, of course, it's not the major theory with a queen on A6. I cannot imagine how this can be the major theory, but Wojtaszek's setup is a bit easier because his position is more harmonious and Rapport is playing it a bit more challenging. I guess knight E7 and C5 is about to follow, and then I really don't know what Wojtaszek is going to do. I guess something like D5. So I don't know, let's say knight E7, or do you position the queen? Let's say queen C2, C5. I would expect D5, rook D1, or maybe some sort of a Benko typical position.
Would you ever go for moves like e4?
Yeah, I guess. It really depends. I mean, of course, the question is, why do we play e4? Do we play e4 to push e5, or do we play e4 to protect the pawn on d5? Because the pawn on d5 is protected, so I could do it as well with something like rook d1, play e3 to just in case protect the square on d4. But your answer is immediately delivered by Radoslav, who plays e4.
Yeah, he does go for e4, grabbing a little bit more space in the center. You know, it's almost never a bad idea to gain a little bit of space. And now if black plays c5, you always have to calculate what happens if white plays e5, because that pawn on c5 could end up getting weak at some point. I just also quickly want to remind our dear viewers that we are looking at all the chats, Twitch and YouTube. So please, if you have any questions, anything you want us to know, so please just let us know. We are reading and we are doing the best we can to provide you with some nice commentary here today.
Thank you, of course, everybody who is watching. Also, I am having a peek what you're saying there. So really, once again, thank you for the good vibes. All right, let's move on to the second tiebreak game, because I think we are going to be switching here and there, but you should be able to appreciate the possibility to follow both the games, because you see you have both games on the screen, so you're not going to miss anything. We also are going to have a peek what is happening in the other games, so hopefully we don't miss anything super important. Ellen, this looks very, very peaceful, no? The first game.
Yeah, this was exactly what I was thinking, which was also why I was a little bit hesitant before saying that I thought So was the favorite between these two, because, you know, a little bit peaceful here. And I don't know if Wesley is trying to outplay Dominguez in a longer game or what is really happening. This taking on c5 in the opening is definitely not the most critical way to play, but maybe he just thinks that he wants to play a nice, solid and long game here, and then if it comes down to the next game, if this one is a draw, he will make a comfortable draw with black, and then he prefers his own like he prefers himself in the blitz, I guess.
Yeah, and they played quite a bit between each other, and also this is what Lanier discovered in yesterday's post-game interview. He said, of course, him and Wesley, they're teammates in the national team. They're waiting for the next Olympiad, so they have pretty much, I guess, good relationship. But they have played quite many times in the St. Louis Blitz and Rapid tournaments, and I just pulled some statistics from 2017. They were playing in the St. Louis Champion Showdown, and it was quite interesting that Dominguez won the rapid section quite convincingly. If my calculation skills were up to the task, 6.5 against 3.5, Dominguez was better in rapid, but Wesley saw completely crush him in blitz, something like 13.5 against 6.5. But that was just one tournament.
Yeah.
And ever since, it's been about equal. Although the very last game, what they played, I think it was last game was Rapid in Chess US tournament, and Wesley So won the last Rapid game and the last Blitz game. So I think you're right. Wesley should be a favorite.
So in this position, I was wondering if you're black, I would definitely consider taking on d4 and playing knight b6. Trying to play bishop d7, bishop c6, but the question is if it is potentially too slow. I don't know if white can go bishop f3 here, and then
I think Wesley also is slightly provoking to this knight e4, because why would he play knight e4? Like, it's like invitation. Do you want to come and play?
Yeah.
And Dominguez maybe is going to answer, yes, I do want to come and play. So maybe something like bishop g5, bishop d7, the small bishop f3, which you said. So if black wants to play bishop c6, this could be a bit unpleasant. The pawn on c6 is a problem. Maybe I could take at some point, let's say, take it, rook d1, rook d3, rook h3, you know. Not so simple, and Dominguez doesn't take the pawn.
No, king e8. That's actually a quite deep move, deciding to put the king on e8, for example, instead of d7, and not making any kind of other move. I don't quite see the point. Do you think it is actually because of this potential of bishop g5, as you were mentioning in the other variation, just pinning the knight on f6, and he didn't want any of this? And maybe also asking the knight on d4, what is it that you really want to be doing there?
No, I think he simply wants to play knight b6 because knight b6, bishop d7 develop the pieces, and immediately playing. Oh wait, why not immediately knight b6 though? I had a very deep answer, but it's probably relates slightly to what Grishik said once after an interview, that you're gonna go through a psychiatric test. Explain. No, I'm listen. Doesn't matter. Of course, knight b6 is possible to play right away. So whatever you said about king e8 being a strange move, I can relate to. Yeah.
He goes bishop a7, bishop e7. Sorry. Is there a possibility of going knight a5 for white here, or is it a bit too premature? I just wanted to put some pressure on the pawns on b7 and maybe play bishop f3 soon. I'm a bit worried about the bishop on c1 not being developed. Okay, he plays neither. He goes for e4 exactly to get that bishop on c1 developed.
A4 looks very natural. Maybe Wesley is going to consider to play at some point knight a4, knight a5, target these pawns, but still he is playing in a very typical way. He has pieces which are underdeveloped. Maybe bishop e3, maybe f3. This is a very nice risk-free approach because he wants to take it slow, test his opponent because they know each other really well. Once again, they know each other's weaknesses and strengths. So Wesley knows what he's doing here.
Yeah, definitely. So in the other game, there's been quite a dramatic development of the pawn structure. And after white played e4, rook f d8, queen c2, and d5 was played, immediately challenging the center. And from this came quite a big change in pawn structure, and I'm not sure what I think about it. I guess the real question is if black is ever going to play c5.
I think the pawn on c6 is weak, of course, but the white pawn on d4 also slightly compensated. I like actually the plan because once again, the alternative probably was to play something like c5. And after c5, most likely Wojtaszek would have played d5. It's some space advantage. And then this last move, rook d8, it doesn't really make any sense. So I would say with the last move, rook d8, Rapport already was clearly aiming for this move d5 and maybe toy with the ideas. If white is going to react against the move d5, maybe he's just trying to scare him of this push. Let's say something very normal as knight e3. Maybe black can consider to switch to c5, and then this inclusion of knight e3 now looks a bit strange for Wojtaszek.
Yeah, indeed. And now we see the pawn on c6, but rook a c8. Rapport is definitely looking to play c5 here, undermining the white center, trying to open up for the rooks. And I'm wondering, when you're white, like, how can you even stop this? When I'm looking at this, it looks fairly decent for black, actually. Maybe I'd even prefer black in this position if I get to play c5.
It really depends what Wojtaszek is going to do here. So first, a couple of ideas which jump to my mind. I could play queen c4, trade the queens, stop it. That's the first idea. Let's say queen c4.
And that actually does force a queen trade, because otherwise the pawn at f7 would be hanging.
Yeah, the pawn on f7 also is incidentally under attack. So something like this. Knight e5, d takes, and this bishop here on b7 maybe is not really doing very well. But after bishop a6, there might be some pressure with rook d2. So probably Wojtaszek is not going to do this. So I expect maybe something like bishop d3. And oh wait, bishop d3 could open this diagonal. Okay, this I'm not so sure then. Here, I thought this to go for some counterattack here, but e6 and c5 still might be a problem. Okay, listen, not so obvious then.
Not so obvious, and it is Wojtaszek who is thinking right now. Richard did have more than 16 minutes at one point, but he has slowed down a little bit. Time is about even, still plenty of time for both of the players. But I think this position is very interesting. at least compared to the other one, there are a bit more strategic elements here.
There's some disbalance indeed. Maybe knight c4. Knight c4 to stop the c5. If Wojtaszek is not going to find some normal move which immediately negates this threat, something like rook e1 or rook d1, these would be the top moves I would be paying attention to right away. If not, then I'm just going to play something like knight c4 with the idea to play with c5, maybe something like d5. I don't know. I have this knight here closing the c file, but I would like to test this rook e1 first and first see if it's really the c5. Is it really bothering me? Because c5, I could, what could I do? I mean, take it, and in the worst case scenario, I could just take it here on c5. And if black equalizes, at least I have a pawn majority at the queen side and maybe some chances. I think Wojtaszek is doing fine. He's just looking for ways to get something out of this position. And the c5 is a very obvious threat.
Yes, I really like your idea of trying to meet c5 with d5 to try to prove that the pawn on c5 is eventually more weak than the pawn on d5. Also, as the pawn would give white some central space, which I really like.
Yep.
But Wojtaszek still thinking here, trying to decide what to do.
Let's go back once again to the Wesley show against Dominguez. Dominguez seemingly is slowly equalizing the game. So as you see the structure, this e4, b6, bishop e3, f3, this is a very classical way how white is fighting for some space advantage. This pawn chain here need for f3, g2, slightly limit the black's knight on f6 activity. There's no knight e5, knight e4, or knight g4. So it really makes sense in a slightly cramped position for Dominguez to trade some pieces. And if I'm Wesley, I probably don't want to do that. So instead of the knight x and c5 double take on c5, which by the way probably is also playable, I would be looking for something like knight d4. This would be my best guess. Try to keep as many pieces as I can and maybe think about something like g4, g5, h4.
And if knight d2, you want to play b5 maybe?
Knight d2.
Yeah. I was thinking
as well. Yeah, maybe knight d2 as well as a possibility.
Yeah, because I was thinking that black would have to go b5, maybe play a4 at some point.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
But I'm not sure if white is very quick with some a4 or b4, a4, or what is really going on.
I think he's just trying to understand where this position might lead. Okay, if he's going to retreat with knight to d2, b5 is obvious. He's trying to quickly figure out, should he play a3, knight e7, knight b6, bishop f6? You know, maybe this entire idea of pushing the pawns now looks completely ridiculous. So, I mean, the space advantage dictates that probably white wants to keep some pieces on the board, but then again, I mean, maybe just trade on c5 and, move on to the next game. I don't know. The black is okay here. Okay, so he took it.
Yeah, he took it, and now we will probably see some more trades. I guess that Wesley is trying to argue that the bishop on b7 is very restricted by the white pawns, as you pointed out, on g2, f3, and e4. And, he'll just try to play this position. His king is more active, and it might not be much, but at least it's comfortable and it's a little better.
Yeah, white's position is slightly better, but since black has no real weaknesses, I think Dominguez is feeling rather comfortable. So once again, let's go back to Wojtaszek's game. Rook d1. Yeah, this is what I was suggesting, that try to make some kind of a normal move. Knight e5 definitely is not going to be played by a Rapport, because then you create this weakness on c6 for no good reason. It's not losing, but you simply don't play like that. You don't create weaknesses for no good reason. So I think he's looking for this c5, and which begs the question, of course, can I play now c5? And now we really need to calculate.
Yes. And so you were saying that in a case where black plays c5, there are a few different options. We can try to start with maybe a trade on d7.
Yeah, probably. I'm just trying to figure out what are the other options. Yeah, I guess so.
because I really want to go d5, but I just can't in this specific position as the knight on e5 would be hanging. I was just worried that knight takes d7 could be met by bishop takes e4 intermezzo with the bishop on b2 not being protected.
Maybe this is his idea. Although there could be some rook d8 ideas. Okay, so d takes c5 is impossible because I take twice, the bishop on b2 is ganging. Yeah, so he takes on d7. I think he's going to do something like this. Either take on c5 right away. Oh, wait, just a second. There's a possibility to make complications. There's queen d7. Did he see that? Probably,
Queen
right?
takes d7. And, oh.
Yeah. But these are very strong pawns, right?
But is this really that good for black? I could imagine a move like bishop takes g7 and maybe take on d8 and play c6. Or do you play rook d5 in that case? Oh.
Yeah, it's risky. So Rapport is going to pay something like 20 seconds for this. I mean, I don't think he's going to play queen d7. There's no need. This is the first game, right? Rook d7 should be fine. I think so. Because again, queen d7, d takes. If you don't take on h3, why do you play queen d7? So again, queen d7, d takes, queen h3 doesn't make a lot of sense. Takes. Maybe there's some counterplay with h5, h4, but white is very fast with pushing the c pawn, b4, b5, a4, a5. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to take with the rook, obviously. So rook takes.
But I like that he's thinking it through. This is very normal for these top grandmasters. If they see an alternative, they're not just, even if something looks like a simple recapture, they're always going to take this maybe 20, 30 seconds just to make sure that there isn't a kind of intermediate move that they have missed. Because intermediate moves, they are so, so important in chess.
Yeah.
And he did indeed take with the rook, as you were sure he was going to do. But still, I liked it. It's a rapid game. Though he does not have all the time in the world, he still has 10, 20 seconds to figure out if queen takes d7 is a viable option.
There's not much action happening in the first game, so I would expect this is the first game. It's something like they're testing their opponents, like maybe dancing in the box match first. I mean, checking the weaknesses, trying to find the right moment to strike. There's going to be the second game. If necessary, there's going to be blitz games as well. So the match strategy now changes because in the pools, you're supposed to fight for the maximum because only one place would qualify for the semifinals. And now this is something else. This is match strategy. This is not that you have to win every single game at all costs. So actually we might see, Ellen, some more peaceful games. I wouldn't be really surprised. So this craziness, and I loved it actually in the group matches, it might this excitement a bit tone down. But I still think we are going to get great games.
Yes, definitely. We are potentially in for quite a few more games. And I don't think these games, they will end in the next 5-10 minutes. They will keep on playing this out because getting off to a great start is important, even if it's holding a comfortable draw with black or making sure that your opponent knows that you were the one pressing when you had the white pieces. You want to...
Look at what Wesley is doing. This is very deep understanding. So knight a4, he opens the c file and he says, I'm not afraid of you, right? That you take over the c file because something like rook c2, there's always going to be king d1, king e1, king d1, and the king has to, king pushes away the rook. So rook c6, b4, bravely fighting for space advantage, not being afraid of b5 because b5 would be knight c5.
That would be uncomfortable, yeah.
King e1, and you see that Wesley is flexing his muscles both at the king side and the queen side and trying to grab more space.
Yes, and now bringing the king to d2 after king e7. This is still uncomfortable for black, I would say, as white does have a little bit of extra space and potentially the better pieces. But as you say, black does not have many weaknesses. And in order for white to really put some pressure, black would need to have some more weaknesses. So that Wesley will definitely try to create some, but Dominguez is also a very good defender. I'm just a little bit confused about the other game. If we can go back there quickly for a second. Sorry if we're switching around a lot.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, I just wanted to continue the thought that I think Wesley's idea at some point is to push b5. I mean, when the rook was on c6, so that after the trade, he can try to get to the pawn on b6. So that's why this rook d6 actually happened to dodge the idea. But okay, let's move on.
Yeah, in the previous move before Rapport played queen f3, I was wondering if there wasn't a small chance for black to almost win a pawn.
Where?
I don't know. I just feel like white has stepped into a lot of pins here.
I think the problem with rook d8, rook d8 should be also playable because rook d8, d takes, you cannot take it, right? This already.
Yeah, because then the bishop on b2 is hanging in the end.
Exactly. So queen takes on c5, and even this position seems very normal to me. If I can try to keep somehow queens on the board, queen f3, rook d5, h5, h4, the pawn on d4 is very weak and passive, so I don't really imagine that black is having any problems. But queen f3 is a bit ambitious because once again, d takes on c5 is impossible because takes, bishop e2, and you cannot take the bishop because the rook hangs on d1. So it's a very interesting aggressive move, probably with some ideas of h5, h4. I like it. Bishop a1 is, by the way, played.
Yeah, and I actually feel like it's Rapport who is taking over in this game. He definitely has the more comfortable position. If you ask me, it's white who has to avoid all the threats. Potentially the more weak king after a plan like h5, h4, as you said. And Wojtaszek down to less than 5 minutes. I wouldn't be too comfortable if I were Wojtaszek here. And even the thought. Yeah, but even the thought of just losing with white, no?
Oh, that's a disappointment. No, why rook d8 is losing? You mean on c5?
No. I mean, even the thought of just being able to lose with the white pieces in the first game, having to win on demand with the black pieces in the next game, that's a bit of an uncomfortable thought, no?
Yeah, I guess. But I didn't really imagine Dwight being in any real issue, having any real issues here. But this seemed a very interesting option here for Rapport. Unfortunately, he didn't take it because once again, d-take is impossible. Taking the pawn is a threat. So this literally forces white to take on c5. And I thought that once again, this idea of h5, h4 was looking really, really interesting. But h5 is an invitation to a draw. I think so, because d takes on c5, we are going to get a lot of trades somehow. Let's say, wait, are we? Oh, wait, just say, maybe it's not so simple. Oh, wait, trickster. Rook c5.
What is going on?
No, it's not so simple. This is not a draw because the bishop is hanging.
Yeah.
Okay, stand corrected.
There was a suggestion of bishop h6 instead of queen f3. Instead of queen f3, yeah. So the move before
doesn't immediately pop in your attention. Also, you need to evaluate the consequences of d takes on c5.
But it was before queen f3.
Before queen f3.
Yeah, so it's a bit far back, but here.
But this is exactly the same. I can sacrifice the exchange.
You just want to sacrifice the exchange.
Okay, maybe black is better here, but this open diagonal, the weak king, two connected passed pawns, which are backed by the bishop.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And a tough decision.
Then at least it feels a bit easier to play white in that case. In the Wesley So against the near Dominguez game, they have traded rooks, which I guess makes life a little bit easier for Dominguez. I wouldn't really expect much to happen there.
I don't see without the rooks. Here we are talking about this game. Everything got traded. I mean, black is going to play maybe f6, e5 to slightly improve his structure. He can play bishop c6. There's no need to play b5 and fix his pawns on the color of his bishop. So something like f6, e5, fixing these pawns on the color of White's bishop, I think this is going to be a very quick draw, really. I don't see any action.
Okay, great.
This also looks like quite peaceful, but maybe Rapport is going to find something. But what? What really he can do here? Although White is a bit paralyzed, no?
Yeah, so if rook fd8?
I just take it. It should be a draw, but White is pressing.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you
Take,
can
take,
take with
take.
the rook, of course.
Yeah, rook on the 7th rank.
Yeah, there would definitely be White who was pressing. I see you're hovering over the e-pawn.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I just saw that you were hovering over the e-pawn. Do you
Yeah,
want to go e5?
I slightly started to play around with this idea. Once again, rook d2, bishop h6. Yeah, so this idea might work. And the pawn on d5 is under attack, so this would be strictly the only move. And maybe there is something here that Rapport can wait. He can try doing a pawn, no?
Rook e1, f5.
Rook e1 and f5.
Yeah.
Wait, this is interesting, but okay, he didn't play it. Just a second, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Felt quite forced, no? So e5, I'm trying to win a pawn. D takes impossible, rook takes impossible, take impossible, d5, e4. Okay, maybe rook e3 is still the same, bishop h6.
Yes.
So you have
and that's
to
an exchange you want to win.
Take, and this feels quite forced, to be honest.
Do you think he wants sort of the same thing, just with h4 included? Was he just trying to improve his position before going for this? Or maybe White can go g4? And then it's not the same because f5 is not there.
Maybe he had the move f4, by the way, I missed it. Maybe there was the side, and there was no f4, was there? Because the pawn standing on e5, 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 e4. There's no f4.
No.
I don't know. h4 is a very typical idea because in these positions, something like g takes on h4, I wanted to say you don't usually do that, is not a great idea because once black positions the rook on h5 and maybe at some point the other rook is on h8, he wins back the pawn on h4 and then the pawn on h3 is simply a weak pawn.
Yes, for sure.
Now e5 is a threat and the same applies for rook h5. But
bishop f6 can sometimes be played also.
And bishop f6, that's a very good point.
b4. Okay, so now Wojtaszek goes for the same plan as you had with White. No, with Black, sorry. A bit of the same pawn structure, just different colors. Reverse, yeah.
Wojtaszek is trying to stay in the game. So he thought probably that, okay, it's peaceful, nothing is going to happen there. And suddenly, with this, I think you get a bit nervous, right? It seems okay, it seems peaceful, nothing is happening. So d takes on c5 is probably already a draw. So you make this very natural rook c1, right? Pinning the pawn and make the expression like, I'm the one who is sort of fighting for the victory, but okay, listen, I know normally to draw. And then queen f3, you just start to feel uncomfortable in your chair, right? I mean, everything suddenly itches and you don't like it. So at this moment, Wojtaszek decided, I think so, started to play very defensive because queen f3, I think he simply missed this idea, and these are very much defensive moves.
But I like b4, trying to create some counterplay, and even though Black has now gotten a passed pawn on c4, he is trying to create some active counterplay with rook a3, maybe potentially going for the a7 pawn. And, you know, the a and b pawn against the c pawn, it is quicker to push one pawn than it is two, but it's also better to have two queens than one. So
Rapport is not risking here anything at all. If somebody is risking, it's only Wojtaszek. So rook d1 is impossible. Bishop takes on f2, check, right? You're gonna do that. Rook falls. Nice try. So let's say I'm gonna take it here, c3. I'm gonna take it here, c2. This is a huge threat. It looks extremely risky. And if you go back, I can try to collect this pawn. Like I said, I mean, there's no way that Rapport is even risking anything. He could play, maybe eventually collect this pawn, and this is going to be a free pawn because the double pawns don't really count. But is this a danger for Wojtaszek? I don't think so. So I think he just needs to be accurate couple of moves and something like even maybe rook. Oh wait, what I'm talking there? There's no rook f5. Maybe just bring the king.
Or king g2, perhaps?
Yeah, but king g2 c2 is a problem.
Oh yeah, this is too slow. This is too slow.
Maybe just take it. Maybe just take it, you know?
And
less pawns.
Yeah.
Less problems. Okay, c2 dangerous. Maybe go here. You know, I'm threatening to the... Oh, wait, I just rook d1 and take on e1. Okay.
Yeah, because this was... I was trying to reverse the move order of something I wanted to play, but it doesn't quite work.
Maybe king f1. White has so many extra pawns here. It cannot be really worse. I mean, Rapport is making the expression like he is better here, but I think he also sees there's nothing. So this is a threat. So it's going to liquidate very quickly, I think. Maybe king e2 makes sense. So that rook b1 is not a threat. I'm going to try to take this pawn, position the king here, takes, and something like this. So I'm threatening rook c3, and after the trades,
this is just a draw. Well, maybe rook f4 first. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, even 1 pawn, 2 pawns against 1.
Yeah,
it's a draw. But yeah, of course, Rapport is slightly pressing. It's maybe also good for the morale, you know. So send a message, a statement, right? He's the guy who made an amazing comeback, winning on demand 2700 in the last round. How many can do that? It's incredible.
Not many for sure.
You know, and in the post-game interview, I think it was, who was it who said, maybe it was Rapport. Somebody said, already forgot, that Fedoseev indeed was very undecisive. He was, I think it was Rapport who said that he was looking at this game of Wojtaszek and he couldn't really understand what he's supposed to do. And this is what we mentioned yesterday, that for Fedoseev, it's like he couldn't understand. Has he played for the main, or has he, does he need to make a draw, or what he's supposed to do? So Rapport said for him it was easier. He just tries to create some chances. And Fedoseev was playing too passive and it was too late at some point.
A question is, why is rook b1 not working? I think if black decides to play rook e1, white will go king d2, protecting. But king, it was in the other position. But king d2, maybe rook d8 could have been played.
No, that's why you play king e2.
Yeah,
rook
but
b1 here, rook d8, king c2. You don't.
There's no rook c8 because the rook on b1 is hanging.
Yeah. Wojtaszek has everything under control. Maybe there is some room for more moves. The king could activate. White could play something like rook c3. Let's say king f6. Oh wait, you cannot play rook c3. You lose the pawn. King f6, king g5, king h4, f5, g5 tried at once, and white is a bit, waiting. But there should be any progress. Maybe even something like
you can always take on c2 if you want, no?
Oh, yeah. Of course, the pawn on c2 is under attack. I sort of forgot it.
And yes, indeed, this is the first rapid game between Wojtaszek, Rapport, and So Dominguez. In the So Dominguez game, quite a bit of things has happened, and I don't know if f5 is Wesley trying to say I will play g5 and keep on playing, or I will shut down the position and we will make a draw.
He has no risk. He wants to play g5, g6. Let's say,
and then knight e2, or knight d1, f2, g5 takes h6, g7, g8.
Yeah, get the knight. No, okay, this is a draw. Knight e2 is a very simple draw because after this move, 0 chances. This is what you call a fortress. None of the sides can make a progress, so they're going to happily smile, offer a draw, and prepare for the next game.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, please do remember that this is the first game of the 2-game rapid mini match. There will be a 15-minute break after the last game has finished. Though we will not be on the break, we will be here, try to guide you through some more of the chess and to if you have any questions that you want to ask, then you can also let us know. So in the break, you can go and grab some tea, but you can also stay here and ask us some questions.
A very interesting idea here from Rapport. You see, he provoked f3. Now he plays rook c4, and the king is going to go something like king h6, king h5, king h4, king h3. It's still a draw, but Wojtaszek is the one who is making it. Although rook b2, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to ask if white plays rook b2, white is winning the pawn on d2, I guess.
No,
c2, sorry.
Always a check at least. Check and go back. So.
Yeah, okay, but then it's just a draw. There's nothing to do. But Wojtaszek decides to go for a4 and not rook b2. Do you think he's the one suddenly trying to push?
No. He is trying to simplify. He's trying to trade the c2 pawn for the a4 pawn and keep the h pawn alive. I think he's trying to keep these two pawns alive, because if Rapport is going to get the 2 pawns against 1, this is something he can play endlessly, right? Of course, it's a draw, but this is what you call a free roll, right? You simply try for free, try to win the game. And he's just looking for this moment when to trade the a pawn for the c pawn, king h5, king h4. Practically, this is a bit annoying, but it can be. He is creating some practical problems for Wojtaszek. That is clear.
Yes, rook a3, trying to maybe push a5 or going rook a2, and it is officially a draw between Wesley and Lanier Dominguez, which means that Dominguez will have the white pieces in the next rapid game. But the 15-minute break will only be after this game finishes, though I will expect that it finishes quite soon, though I see that the engine has dropped a quick deal. What has happened?
Wow, rook a2 was a mistake, apparently. Wow, he missed rook e8 check. King e2, rook e8, rook d2. There's suddenly some issues. King h4, king f4 is incoming. Oh my goodness, did Wojtaszek miss this? So rook a2 was a mistake. He should have played something like a5, I guess. Or maybe rook g1, king c1. It's very difficult to tell, but Wojtaszek found... I mean, rook a2 is a very logical move, right? But rook d5, what a nasty idea. I think this rook e8 check was missed because... Obviously, white is thinking about that the black is going to keep the pawn on c2, and instead, Rapport goes for the king. So rook e to e2 was the idea. That's why king g3 is played, not king g1, because king g1, rook e2, look at this.
Or king g1, rook d1 immediately, no?
Yeah, rook d1, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's why king g3.
But I can tell, see, I was just trying to find... how we like watching the players, and I can see that the change in Rapport structure, Rapport structure in how he was sitting, it just suddenly changed, and he felt way more comfortable than he was before. And this is a mess. The white king is in danger. The c2 pawn is not dropping anymore. This was way too ambitious for Wojtaszek. He could have played rook b2 immediately, but deciding to go for a4, rook a3, rook a2 was simply too slow, allowing the black king to get very, very close.
Rook b2, the bar drops. I guess there's a forced checkmate.
Forced checkmate, rook d3.
Whoa,
and g5 is blitzed out with rook e4 and rook takes h3, checkmate incoming.
No, this is a checkmate.
And Wojtaszek has resigned.
Wow. I mean, did you see, Ellen, this king of 5? I noticed this drop of the evaluation bar. For some reason, evaluation was saying that king of 5 is a mistake from Rapport. I couldn't really tell why it should be a mistake, why king h5 should be played. I guess rook a3, but even this looks terrible, no? It's just rook d1. It's exactly the same idea. You just want to trade, and after rook a1, it's still rook d3 check with exactly the beautiful same idea. Amazing.
Wow.
What was the defense here?
Well,
maybe...
I have no clue.
Maybe king h4. No, don't tell me it's king h4. Maybe king f3.
King h4.
Maybe king f3. I don't know.
King f3 is definitely an idea. But still, this is so uncomfortable, no?
Yes, very uncomfortable.
Okay, so king e3, what do we do? Rook g2, maybe? Or
there's no more threats. There's no more.
Rook D1.
No, I just push the pawns, right? Push forward the pawn. Rook A1, I just push forward the A pawn. I try to understand why King H5. Why King H5, according to the engine, was the best move, because you saw, right? Is King F5, the bar immediately raised for Wojtaszek, meaning that there was a mistake.
So, well, it threatens mate in 1 with either Rook E3 or Rook D3. White has to protect against this, I guess King F3.
Maybe it's F5. For whatever reason, I don't.
F5 with Rook H2 to come?
Maybe it's King H4. Maybe it's King H4, F5, Rook G2, Rook G3.
Don't tell me that's just a mate you can't stop even if you run your A pawn down.
Is this really? Wow, I also would play King F5 in the heartbeat, and Rapport play King F5 in the heartbeat. How can you not play King F5? But look at this. Here, maybe just F5.
Goodness.
King H4? Or maybe I start with Rook G2,
Ace. This is funny. A6, King H4. But no. Rook E1. And you want to go C1 queen? Oh. You can play C1 queen immediately?
I guess this is the idea. I'm sorry, or immediately queen. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Just queen.
Mm.
Okay, not very obvious, to be honest. So the king can be instrumental piece to checkmate as well. So apparently Rapport did slip his advantage, at least according to the engines. We saw the board drop, and I tried to understand why King F5 was a mistake. I guess because of King F3 and white still lives, but Wojtaszek immediately blundered this checkmate.
Yeah, so Richard Rapport with the comeback, winning this game. And I have to say, I do feel a little bit sorry for Wojtaszek, because so many winning positions during this these entire 6 rounds of the pools. He was doing so well in so many of the games. And then now having to win on demand against none other than Richard Rapport, who, despite his own disbelief in himself, I don't know if you saw the interview, absolutely heartbreaking to watch such a strong player like Richard Rapport having lost faith completely. He was so sad. It was terrible to watch.
But he is his mood.
Yeah, his mood is probably improving quite a bit, and now he has to just make a draw with the white pieces to advance to the semifinals. And my predictions here is that Richard is going to win. We're going to have another draw between Wesley and Dominguez, who will take it into the Blitz. What do you think?
It's a good chance, of course, but in a rapid game, I'm not sure if the color really plays a big role. But Rapport definitely has a psychological advantage. First, he scored a win out of nothing, seemingly in this game, where it was Wojtaszek who was trying to make the impression that he's the one who is sort of calling the shots, and if I want, it's going to be a draw, and suddenly he missed his queen f3. At least it looked like that. And then he was trying to salvage it. And then there's also the psychological advantage for Rapport having the incredible comeback in the pool stage, because he was so hopelessly behind. Because once again, remember, round 5 against Grigory Oparin, after the first time control, Rapport was about to be lost. So it seemed to be a lost position, and he's playing with white. Next game with black against Fedoseev, he's training leaders. He has no chances, right? No, wrong. He saved the game against Rapport. He won on demand Fedoseev, and he wins here with black against Wojtaszek. Now, how amazing is this?
Mm-hmm. Certainly a very, very strong player. And when he got the chance here, he just grabbed it. So the next round will start. at 4 p.m. CET. So we do still have 10 minutes before round 2 of the mini matches here in the tiebreaks. So please, if you're sitting out there, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, we are reading all the chats. So just let us know. We will talk a little bit chess here in the next 10 minutes. So feel free to ask us. We are here for you, and we're just trying to make it a little bit nice and a little bit comfortable with a relaxing Friday afternoon here. How many games do they play in the semi-finals? They are playing 2 games. Oh, yeah, 2 games in the semi-finals, one with each color, and the winner of the semi-finals will go ahead to the finals.
Once again, here you're seeing the tournament regulations, 13 points for the Grand Prix stage winner, runner-up 10, etc. So once again, there's going to be 3 stages. 24 players in total are playing in 2 Grand Prix stages out of 3. So this one and maybe another one, and the 2 top finishers who get most points, they will qualify for the FIDE Candidates tournament.
Yes, and Arturs, we have another question which I think you can answer a little better than I can, and that is if you've met or played the players.
You mean these players who are playing here?
Yes.
I have met them. I actually played them. If you would ask who I've played against here, I played against Lenier Dominguez. It was long time ago. We mentioned it briefly in one of the games when he was playing against Pentala Hare Krishna, because I was playing against Pentala this 1999 World Under-16 Championships. And a year earlier, I was playing against Lenier. Also, we played a draw. And from remaining of the players, actually, I beat Wojtaszek, but okay, it was a long time ago, so it doesn't count. It was a rapid game. They're just so much stronger.
Well, you are indeed strong yourself. So there are also some other questions, as if you have any good books as of late, any new great chess books that people they should read if they want to improve?
I can use the opportunity to advertise that I'm writing. It's very close to finish my newest Chessable course. So those of you who don't know, I've created 2 courses. First one, the reverse Sicilian. I was very proud of the final result, C4, E5, complete repertoire for black. And now I'm working with another grandmaster, Igor Kovalenko. I'm writing the Sicilian Khan, a very sharp repertoire for black against E4, C5, E6, A6, Sicilian Khan, Sicilian Paulsen. It's going to be incredible. It's going to blow away your minds. I promise you this. So the research is done, and at the moment there's the beta test. So I need to record the videos. So it's really, really fun. And this I can definitely recommend.
Yeah, and from one Chessable course to another, I will also be making one. It will be released later than yours for sure, but mine it will be. Well, I don't want to say too much yet, but for sure mine isn't aimed as good players as your course is, Arturs. You are of course a little stronger than me, so you also you can write for many people. But I will do something for beginners, and if you want to have any say in that, then you can try to text me on my social media. I can't say that I'm going to always reply to you, but I am reading a few DMs here and there to try to see if people they have any suggestions for what they want to see in a Chessable course.
Yeah, so best of luck. I know it's very tough to write one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting started at least.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat. The GMs who are qualified for the candidates, are they not allowed to play here? I'm not really sure what the regulations state, but that would not be really ethical, right? To remove chances for the other players try to compete. Not sure. There was this discussion, of course, when Magnus was playing the FIDE World Cup, which was part of also qualifying for the candidates tournament. That there were people discussing what happens then. I think they even extended the number of places which would qualify from the World Cup. But to be honest, I don't already remember.
Well, wasn't it just one player who qualified, which was Duda?
No, from the World Cup, this one is Duda and Karyakin.
They both qualified. Duda just won. Ah, I see.
But there was this earlier World Cup when Carlsen was playing, and I remember there was some discussion that he is directly, participating in the fight for the candidate's place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. It's stated that they would lose their candidate spot if they're participating in the Grand Prix. Might be. I'm not sure. Okay, it doesn't matter. But they're not playing. They're not playing here because they have the place in the candidates tournament. Why should they play?
Yeah, probably they need to prepare. They know quite a few of their players, or quite a few of the people they're playing already. There are 6 fixed players for the candidates, which will be played in June this year, if I'm not entirely wrong. And Arturs, can you mention all the 6 players?
I think we have a screen prepared for that. Of course, it's the World Championship runner-up, Jan Nepomniachtchi from the World Championship match against Magnus Carlsen. Then there's the wild card, so to speak, FIDE nominee Timur Rajabov. You remember the story, right? How Rajabov pulled out from the 2020 candidates tournament due to COVID fears. He was granted a place in the next cycle as part of the compensation. Duda and Karyakin, they are qualifying from the FIDE World Cup. And of course, Firouzja and Caruana, they were the top 2 finishers in the FIDE Grand Swiss, which was held in Riga. So 2 more places, 2 more players to be found out from the Grand Prix series.
Yeah.
All right. I got a confirmation that indeed, if somebody who would be qualified for the candidates tournament, they decided to take a place in the Grand Prix, they would lose their spot. So once again, why play the qualification tournament when you already have qualified?
I have to say, I think you would have a lot of confidence to play in the Grand Prix if you already had a candidate spot, just to try to qualify once again.
Yep. All right. I think the games are going to start in a moment. So we're waiting for them to start. Hopefully it's not going to be hyper bullet this time. Because the first one, there was a bit delay. I don't know why. So we missed the first 10 moves or so. So once again, yeah.
Yeah, it should start in 4 minutes. I think they will start right on the dot this time.
Yeah, it might be. I didn't really check on the clock. When did they finish? But it's nearing 15 minutes mark. Of course, Wojtaszek is going to try to play for the win with black. Play something sharp. Maybe if Rapport is going to play e4, some Sicilian. I'm not even sure which game we should start to check first. Both of them are going to be very important.
I was going to ask if you had any predictions for the openings.
Not really. Maybe Rapport is going to play something peaceful. Not really try to play for the draw because he's too experienced to know that openly playing for the draw can backfire, which his opponent yesterday for the save saw too clearly how that works.
Yeah, I really feel that if there is one player who won't play something boring just because they need a draw, I don't think it's Rapport. I really don't. He always seems to go for some very exciting or at least interesting chess to try to throw his opponents a little bit off the scent. He's a very unique player. He plays chess in his very own way, and I don't think he will shy away from any opening here.
By the way, one more interesting trivia I noticed is that all of the top finishers in this stage of the Berlin Grand Prix, the first stage, they're not going to play in the second stage. And I was notified by a friend, said that it's quite paradoxical that all of the top finishers, all of the semifinalists and closest followers, they are going to play in the next stage once again. I think it's in Berlin, right? It's Belgrade and then it's Berlin.
I actually do not know that.
A bit strange coincidence, really. So it's Aronian, Nakamura, all of the semifinalists who are fighting here, maybe even Yesipenko, they're playing in the third stage, not in the second. So once again,
Yesipenko, are you sure he is? He was a wild card, no? So only if someone drops out, he might be granted a spot.
Maybe the one who is replacing. Yeah, maybe the one who is replacing, he was supposed to play in that third stage. Okay, I stand corrected. You may be right. But once again, the system is this. There are 3 tournaments, 3 legs, 3 stages. Berlin, Belgrade, once again, Berlin. From February to April, every single player is playing only 2 tournaments out of 3. I'm not sure how they selected. Was it random or not? But they're here.
Yes, and with only 1 minute to start, I'm excited. I feel like we're going to get some interesting chess on both boards. I definitely feel that Dominguez, he will try to play something to really go for the win here. We see, Bishop B5, Sicilian here from Rapport. They are blitzing out. While
I'm so not surprised. I'm so not surprised to see this, Ellen. This is how I would play if I would play against So let me explain you the concept. So why people play the Najdorf to get a sharp game. So White Rapport plays the Moscow variation, Bishop B5, on the Najdorf to get a peaceful game. And this, after A6, Bishop D7, Knight C3. I know this too well. Oh, wait, not Knight C3, C4. This is something else. I thought also Knight C3 is very much playable. This is such an equal position that, I mean, White is slightly pressing, and it's very difficult for Black to get a sharp game. Very nice choice.
Something I am actually very excited to see is Wesley not going for Berlin, or Dominguez not either. Was this Bishop B5 or Bishop C4 first? Oh, okay, it was Bishop C4 first. Sorry, so there wasn't even a chance of a Berlin. We're at an Italian game here. I like that Lanier didn't play Bishop B5 to allow any kind of Berlin, but instead going for it. We were speaking about this opening when they were playing against each other. I remember you were teaching me a little bit about this Berlin when Black goes A5 and White is forced after this Bishop E6 to play Bishop B5. Wesley won a very nice game in this exact variation, but I guess that Lanier did his homework.
I guess against who? Against Lanier, right? Exactly the same line. So this is highly topical variation. I don't really remember what was the order of the moves. At some point, I think Lanier played Knight D2, Knight F1, and tried to push D4. Black played Knight E7, Knight G6. And now the question is, has Lanier done his homework? Has he checked what he's supposed to play? Of course he has. Now he's just probably trying to remember what was it really. So this is what I played in round 4 or 5, to be honest.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5. My memory seems to say 5, but I'm not going to bet my money on it. I just remember that it was a great game, and that's all I need to know.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the tournament that Wesley was able to win the position with Black pieces exactly in the same line. Again, Bishop A7 stops D4. So once again, if Black is careless, White can play D4, D5. So this could be a problem. So that's why Bishop A7 is a very natural retreat. And instead of the A6, which is the conventional way to continue A5, it also fights for White's ambition to fight for some space advantage at the queen side. So Knight E2, I guess, makes sense.
I believe that was what he played last time also.
I don't really recall. Might be the same, might be
I think it was Knight D2, Knight H5. Or was it this? No, because he did Knight F1, Knight H5. No, okay. I think they're still following the same game. I just can't remember.
It looks
the
very
exact
familiar.
order. Yeah.
Looks very familiar. Even if they don't. Okay, so Knight H5, this is exactly what Wesley played. Knight F1.
Knight F1, and now it was takes on D4.
Okay, this is this no take, right?
That's
This
I can't remember the move order.
Oh, I remember. I remember. Now Wesley took on d4 in the classical game. He took on d4. So Lanier says, "Go for it. Let's repeat. I want my revenge here." He trusts his openings, and I think this is the right attitude. You should trust your openings, even if you sometimes lose it badly. And Lanier lost it. So there you go, c6.
Yeah, Wesley is the first one to back out, it seems.
Probably, maybe there's a couple of reasons why he's doing this. Maybe this was meant only for one game. The c takes on d4, d5, and he's sure that Dominguez already knows all ins and outs of the variation. So he plays the traditional way, b5, a4, 5-4 space advantage at the queen side, and still keep his options to react with maybe e takes, d5. And anything can happen. So let's go once again back to Rapport's game against Wojtaszek. There's been a change of the structure. e6, h6. Yeah, h6 is a very aggressive move because it literally is inviting white to take on f6. So something like queen f6, and g takes on f6, despite the fact that black has a worse pawn structure, he has two bishops. So position the king on e7, maybe bishop g7, h5, f5, bishop c6. These bishops could very quickly become really a menacing pair. So that's why Rapport didn't take it. He played bishop h4, and this is a very simple way to initiate a lot of trades. Simple and good.
Yeah, he maybe wants to get it done. We see that he's also on almost 17 minutes, which is quite impressive. Wojtaszek down to 11 minutes trying to figure out how he can shake things up, as this is a must-win game. And he goes for queen c7. Can black play a move like, can white play a move like bishop g3 here?
Yeah, maybe. Bishop g3. There could be at some point some knight h5.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure. Is it right away or bishop c5 or queen c5?
I was thinking about it. I just thought that maybe something like knight h5 could be met by knight takes d7, which once again would lead to a lot of trades. And he actually goes for knight takes d7 immediately, queen takes and king takes.
It's very simple approach for Rapport. You can't blunder what you trade. Just trade, trade. Everything goes. Everything goes. This has limits, of course, how far the strategy works. King e2 makes sense here. Not short castle because the endgame is approaching. King e2, not short castle. Rook d1, rook c1, or maybe start with rook c1. But it can backfire. You know, sometimes playing so openly for trades, it can backfire. Or maybe long castle, by the way. Long castle also is a possibility. Long castle also is a possibility, yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah, I see. By the way, you're saying in the chat. So,
I guess that Wojtaszek wants to just outplay Rapport from this position, maybe try to put some pressure on the c4 pawn. And if white tries to protect it too much with a move like b3, then there are themes of a minority attack with b5. And long castle is indeed played, but where does the king go? Because damn it, I was tempted to say king c6, and I just didn't have the time.
This is not over, because despite the fact that there is a limited amount of material and white has no weaknesses, now black gets some play. So still, of course, he's looking for a lot of trades, rook e1, knight e4, trade, go to the rook endgame and play it as simple as possible. But it also gives some freedom for black. But there are less pieces. There are less and less pieces. And that's why it's so difficult to play for the win for black, because white calls all the shots.
But in the other game between these two players, we were also seeing less and less pieces. So
yeah, b5.
Anything can happen. Yeah, p5, this typical minority attack, trying to open up a bit for the rooks. What I do like though is that Rapport has a lot of time. So even if he somehow gets himself into trouble, he can still try to figure out what to do, as he has been quite well prepared here. But as you're showing, this is a lot of trades.
Yeah, something like this could happen. I'm not sure about b4. Maybe rook b8 first. Black is pretty active. There's some b4 threats. But with every single trade, it's becoming a little bit easier for Rapport, but he's just doing this too openly. Something like b3 doesn't make sense, really, because takes, this pawn is going to be weak. There's an outpost on c5 for a black piece. Wow. Rook e1.
He went for rook h to e1.
So that's a trade of rook d4. That's his idea.
Yeah, and king b5 is met by a4.
King c5, you mean?
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. King b5 is not a possible move. No, rook e5 here or something.
Well, I can find some excitement here with f3.
Oh, but the rook is hanging.
Yeah.
No, it's not hanging. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay, you know what? Just forget I said anything. I did this for the chat so that chat could see what was wrong.
That was a test. That was a test.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Looks equal.
You know, you're just trying to rattle your opponent a little bit. It's fine. It's fine.
This is interesting, this structure. Check this out. c6, queen d7. Sort of, you know, having a hook on h3, thinking about some ideas. Knight f5. It's like a friendly reminder. No ideas here.
Yeah, we also saw this same idea in their game.
I like Wesley's structure. It's very, you know, this very harmonious. This f6, sometimes it's a weakness and sometimes it's a great move. Go figure out, right? Which is the right moment. Because normally, I think people are taught that you don't touch your king's pawns unless there's good reason to do that. And especially it applies for the f pawn, either f3 for white or f6 for black. But here the f6 pawn strengthens the center and opens the f7 square for the queen or the bishop at some point.
Yeah, and from f7, the queen also has potential to go to h5.
Yeah, maybe, indeed. Like this, right? Bishop f7, bishop h5?
Yes. I was also thinking maybe the queen at some point. If we start by protecting the d6 pawn, and we can play a move like queen f7, then some knight takes h3, knight f4, queen h5 is in the air, it feels.
Okay, but now Wesley needs to be a bit accurate because rook d8 would be a mistake, I think. So there could be something hanging, this bishop on a7. You normally want to develop the pawn on d6. Yeah, so d5, bishop e3 could lose something, so that's not great. So that's why Wesley is thinking here.
But what happens if he tries some of the same as he did in their game, where he took on d4?
I'm sorry?
In their game, in the classical portion, Wesley took the pawn on d4 and went d5. Is this something that he could consider in this position?
Yeah, but not with the pawn on f6, right? Because with the pawn on f6 and then playing d5, it sort of asks the question, why did you weaken the king? Maybe, you know, okay, I'm not going to immediately tell that no. But it feels weird. I think if you want to do something like this, it makes sense to do it around here.
Okay.
And then play d5. But maybe, you know, maybe it's also possible. Maybe it's also possible because once again, if you take on d4, I could, for example, take with the knight. And this f6.
Yeah, you're right. I was just thinking that if I could somehow get you to take with the pawn like it happened in the classical game and then play d5, then if you tried to go for some e5, I could immediately open up the f-file for the rook, but perhaps it's just a bit too much.
Yeah, and the black has some issues with this bishop here. So I would expect something like d5, which is a way to defend the queen, the bishop, and then think about rook d8, rook c8, etc. So maybe, of course, Wesley can play rook d8, but this bishop on a7, because of the white's bishop on e3 and some d5, d takes e5 tricks, could be a bit unpleasant, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I slightly like Lanier's possession, although probably it's about equal. By the way, Ellen, wasn't today this premium arena for the members? Or I'm mixing up something. I think it was today, right?
Yes, it was definitely today that if you are a premium member on Chess24, you have the option of playing in the premium arena, which is joined by GM Shahryar Mamedyarov and GM Liam Kwang Lei. Today at 6 p.m. CET, don't forget to use this special premium code for tonight. And yeah, if you don't know what the code is, I will find it for you because it is very special, as it is a Valentine's Day theme code we have. And it's use the code LOVECHESS for 50% off your Chess24 premium membership.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, check this out, the small tactics. Rook e1, rook d8, knight e5. Why I'm calling it small tactics? I mean, because it's not really winning anything for white. It's a very typical idea, mainly in Sicilian openings. So e takes on d5, rook e7, everything hangs on the 7th rank. That's not really great. So that's why Wojtaszek had to try bishop c5, more trades once again. And you just, it gets really depressing maybe at some point because you want to get the fight going and everything just disappears, just brutally is getting traded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy if I were Wojtaszek, in this position right here. He has to win on demand, but the position, many pieces has come off. And
yeah,
the pawn structure, if better for anyone, it's white. So not black pushing for much. We see Rapport trading yet another piece with rook takes d8.
I think now you can safely take on b5, you can safely take on f6, more trades, g3, take it here, remove the bishop and trade and trade. Rapport is making this look easy. If you're sometimes looking for a way how to draw a super grandmaster who needs to win you on demand, you simply study Rapport's game, I guess. I mean, he just makes it look so simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. In the other game, Wesley's still thinking.
Yeah, Wesley's still thinking. I also suspect that this will be a draw. The question is just for how long Wojtaszek will keep on trying. I guess he'll just keep on playing, though he can't really stop many pawns from coming off the board.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even say the worst case ever. We're going to have rook and bishop against rook, and Rapport will also draw that one.
Yeah, maybe. But I don't even see how that is possible. There's just White has zero weaknesses. He can even play, something like rook e2 and just rook e2, a3. But I think he wants to force things because, let's say, if he does nothing, okay, take it back. I thought black wants to play b4 and slightly pressure the pawn on a2 because before white can play something like a3. But rook e4 also is a move, I guess, with some bishop g3, rook h4 ideas.
That's the idea. Okay, because I was having a little bit of a difficult time seeing what the idea was. If black goes rook g8, maybe?
I'm not 100% sure. I understand. I think so. It's got to be. Or maybe he wants to trade some pawns with a4. Also, I mean, rook on the 4th rank. Let's say I position the rook on h4 and I push a4. It's very easy, right? The rook on h4 is attacking the pawn on h6. I trade another pawn with a4. So how do you play this for the win?
Yeah, I mean the black pawn structure is quite weak.
Yeah. Okay. I think that we are not going to see much here, and Rapport is clearly controlling comfortably the game to a draw. And once again, this is a match strategy. He won the first game with black. He just needs to make a draw with white, so everything goes away. Just simply trade it. If you think this is easy, try to do it yourself. You're going to find it. It's not so easy.
Yeah. One of the hardest things in chess is actually making a draw when you only need a draw. I remember I once was watching a game between two players where one of them needed to win for an IM norm and the other one needed to draw for an IM norm. And it was the person who needed to win who got the IM norm, because sometimes the pressure of just needing a draw is quite a lot, actually. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's there's this even saying that if you want to make a draw, sometimes it's easier to
have to play for the win.
Just play for the win because it's simpler. You just don't worry too much about that draw, and if you play the good active moves, the draw eventually will come. But it's easy to say.
Yeah, for sure. But in this game, there is a lot of action going. And I'm a little bit curious because I am, of course, not watching engine variations or anything. But I can see that the engine bar on our screen is giving quite the advantage to Dominguez in this position. And I am wondering, first of all, why? Second of all, how?
Maybe there's something direct. Yeah, exactly, with d-takes on e5. This king h8, I find it to be a bit strange, to be honest. I guess it's like a multi-purpose move to remove the king from some checks, some diagonal checks, and I don't really understand what's the purpose, because I could even play maybe also some preparation move, queen d2, but then again, after queen d2, my d5 idea sort of disappeared because black would take on e3, then the queen on d2 would be now under attack. So that's what happens after d takes on e5. F takes on e5 is again change of the pawn structure. Why not d takes on e5? I can only guess. I guess take, and something along the lines of rook e1 and bishop b3.
And some knight d6 coming. Yeah, you can understand why he might find this to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Wesley, I guess, didn't start to like light knock something, so that's why he played this king h8, which is strange. But I mean, of course, the question is, why don't you play something more conventional, something like, I don't know, rook d8, right? Why this should be a mistake, I slightly don't understand. I mean, me d takes with d takes. How is this a problem to you? But okay, he probably still calculated this, maybe even this position after takes, bishop beat. But there's nothing. Yeah, I'm not sure why he chose rook king h8 instead of rook d8. There must be a reason, where he simply was already preparing himself to play f takes on e5, and he thought that, okay, this is a fun position to try.
Do you think he might be very influenced from his win in the first, or his winning the classical portion against Dominguez, thinking that everything worked out for him there, so why shouldn't it work out here?
I don't think he's really thinking about it too much. He's just... Wesley's philosophy normally is play one game at a time. This is what he said in one of the post-game interviews. Early in the tournament, he said when he arrived, he was experiencing some jet lag. As he arrived from, I guess so, from United States, maybe from somewhere else. I don't really know. But he had some jet lag. He was not feeling well. And at that interview, he said, yeah, he's just not thinking too much ahead, just playing one game at a time, trying to play some good chess, enjoying it, indeed. So... okay, he won linear in their classical game, does not play a single role. Like, remember, it was Wojtaszek who beat Rapport in the first classical game, like it matters right now, because Rapport is about to outplay Wojtaszek in the tiebreaks.
Yeah, I completely see that. I just know with myself that sometimes if I had a good score or a nice game in a certain variation, sometimes I can get a bit too influenced in my coming games, just over evaluating my positions a little bit. But after knight g5, Wesley is going a bit down on time. He has to make a move. I guess that you do not want to give up the bishop, because the bishop is quite nice, but still going back to g8, that doesn't seem comfortable either. The king side will get very cramped there.
There could be also g3, queen h5 threat. This is something that you need to reckon with, because if you play something very standard like bishop g8, which would be, oh wait, the pawn on d6 is, Are you gonna do that?
Oh, the pawn on d6 is hanging. I didn't even notice actually. And he goes for d5.
Yeah, but this is impossible, right? Queen d6, bishop f5.
Oh, yeah.
Queen d7, bishop d7. This is the trick. So knight g5 is like the threat. First to take on e6, win the pawn on d6, and then there's also the g3 and queen h5 idea. So let's say black defends against it. I'm not sure how really. Rook d8, g3 could be a problem. The knight has nowhere to go. So I don't know. I don't know what you do here. So that's why Wesley plays d5.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot take it because the knight is under attack. I don't think that Lanier is going to play knight e6 if there's no immediate follow-up. This knight on g5 has...
But how about g3 in this position?
Yeah, that's, of course, a very valid point. What about g3?
The knight is... I guess you have to take on f... Well, take on f5, e takes f5.
But how it solves your position now you have the second knight under
Yeah, now two knights are hanging.
I think there's going to be a sacrifice. This could get very sharp very quick.
Mm-hmm.
The intuition says it should be bishop a7 so that the rook on a7 cannot participate in the attack.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say something like takes, g3. And if I'm Dominguez, I'm trying to figure out how do I do this? Did my opponent blunder? I mean, how do I execute g3? What's the right way? Maybe there is something like h6, some counter attack, removing the knight from defending the pawn. So g takes, h takes. Oh wait, queen h5 drops the knight. Yeah, maybe not like this. Maybe g takes and knight f4. And now this knight is hanging, although that's sort of an extra piece, no?
So many things going on. It doesn't seem like white is getting checkmated this very instant. Linear calculating here. I was just trying to take a look at the players, see how they were looking.
This is a big moment, of course, for Lanier, right?
Yes, of course. He doesn't look stressed at all, if you ask me. He looks very calm. So
I've never really seen him stressed. He's always, I mean,
he's always calm. You're right.
They're such cool guys, you know. I imagine myself, I was like, you know, completely stressed. They're always so calm, so cool. Everybody has their own attitude.
I can't say I'm the same. I once was offered a draw by a GM, which I declined. But after the game, someone told me that I looked like someone who was having a heart attack. So yeah, I'm not very good in those stress situations. But there's some stuff happening. Yes, exactly. On the Rapport Wojtaszek, in the Rapport Wojtaszek game.
Yep, the pawns go away.
The pawns here were traded.
More pawns are threatening to go away.
Oh, g4 was played. Okay. So bishop f4, bishop. What was the point of bishop f2?
Trade.
No, but how is this a trade?
But rook e1, no? I captured the bishop. I think black simply could have no follow-up after rook e1, rook h1. This is a bit risky, but...
But if Rapport has calculated this, I mean...
Oh, wait, just a second. So we left the game here, right? Rook e4, a very logical move, trade away pawns. This is why he played rook a4. Take, go back, mission achieved. I guess h3 he didn't really like because it creates some weaknesses. Maybe f4, f5, e4 at some point, you know, you have a passed pawn, so that's why he plays g4. Rook on the second rank defends the pawn on h2. And now this is what Rapport calculated to be a simplification. Otherwise, he wouldn't play simply bishop f2. Now the question is, what happens after this? I'm not...
Rapport is such a fast calculator. He really knows what he's doing.
Wait, what? Rook d2.
The rooks were traded.
So.
So now he wants to go king e2, king f2, king g3. Probably not. He wants to. I don't know.
Well, that's very deep because despite the fact that black has an extra pawn, he is going to play king d3 or king e2 and just build a brick wall. And mind you, notice this square here.
It's the opposite color of the bishop.
So that is a very deep defense, you know. He just needs to trade these 3 pawns, and that's it. Maybe just 2 pawns, give away the bishop for one of the remaining pawns, put the king on h1, and that is an easy draw. You know, this is amazing technique. You know, he just plays bishop f2 to simplify the position, and I would expect, yeah?
Yeah, I'm still a bit curious though, because bishop a7, king c4 was played. How do you play? Like, how exactly do you do it is my question.
I just sit and do nothing.
How? How do you do nothing?
Something like bishop b6 nothing.
Okay, bishop h4.
Bishop h4, I just do nothing. I just sit and wait.
Okay, you're more than welcome to wait. I will try for something. King d5.
King d5, king d3.
Bishop e7.
And I wait, and I wait.
Okay, f5.
This might be an attempt, by the way. I was thinking about this f5. Yeah, f5, h5. I mean, you have to do this at some point, I guess. Otherwise, king e6 is king e4, and there's no f5.
Yeah, that was why I played f5 immediately.
Yeah, you have to try. Of course, I don't argue h5, h4, h3, maybe bishop c5. I'm not really 100% sure I support how blatantly is Rapport trying to draw this. But if it works, right? This always reminds me.
But if it doesn't work, it also doesn't work. And that would be a bit of a shame.
But it always reminds me of this very nice quote by Vichy Anand, the former world champion. I love this quote. And he was the one who said, I don't care if it's weird. If it works, it works. And that's it. And I always remember that, right? You make all these weird moves and whatever. I mean, it works, right? What do you care? So as long as it delivers the result, it's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, what just happened here? He didn't take the piece. Okay, that is a surprise, to be honest. Maybe there's something, maybe it was risky.
Maybe, definitely something he didn't like. The question is just what?
G3. There must be, wait, just a second. Wait, maybe he's not even forced to sacrifice. He just takes an e4. And the knight on f5 is hanging. I have no time to take it.
Okay.
So maybe it's not even a sacrifice. So maybe I trade queens, I move my knight, and then this knight is free to go. Maybe just take the pawn on h. Of course, yeah, it's just so simple. There's no sacrifice. Okay, I didn't see that.
So what was played instead?
So who is playing in the semifinal? Dominguez. So Pair is going to play against Aronian. It's going to be all-American semifinal, and the other semifinal, Hikaru waits for the winner of the match, Wojtaszek against Rapport.
That also means that we are potentially in for an all-American final, though we do not yet know.
Yep. 3 Americans in semifinal. It's already quite official. I mean, it's quite incredible. You know, I watched on yesterday, Aronian's interview, and he was asked about, I don't remember the original question though. It was something like, how would you rate your chances like an American against another American? So he said something like, you know, I'm the new American and I have to play at least as good or better. So the bottom line is he has to prove himself. Obviously, he has to. I guess so. I mean, he's no #1 American, and he's changed his federation just recently, and he wants to prove that he can still play the chess at the highest level. Of course.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to figure out this position right here. Did it change for the better or for the worse for White? Does he have a better position now than he did before? Because to me, it doesn't seem that way.
H5, I'm very surprised about this move. Why is this necessary? I mean, it's a very committal decision. Clearly, he wants to get rid of the knight with something like remove the knight and play G6. This has to be the idea. But what about this bishop here? Maybe White can include at some point E takes on D5, C takes, maybe G3. And this bishop could be strong. There could be queen H5.
Yeah.
But then again, they're down on 2 minutes. So, of course, both players are trying to hold the initiative because, once again, in time scramble, it's very important who controls the initiative.
So if I'm black here, I'm thinking I really...
sorry, I just quickly want to...
Yeah, sure. I mean, black also here has ideas of h5 to go f5, e4, or f5 to go h5, h4.
Yeah, but even after black's e4, I might just do nothing. Just play king e2. And even if you play e3, it awfully looks like some kind of a fortress.
Really?
There's a good chance, yeah.
Even when I get f5?
I'm not sure. Okay, maybe. I'm not sure. Not sure really. But I mean, the point was, let's say, if I eliminate, let's say, somehow the pawn on f6, you take the pawn on b4, even if you push e4, e3, I just play king e2. I'm not obliged to react with f takes on e4, and even this looks just totally fortress.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, this game, of course, is more exciting.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, if I'm black in this position, I will be looking for a way to get my rook on a7 into the game, but I'm not sure that I have the time to do so. The queen has been transferred to g3. How did that happen? So h5, queen f3, queen g5, queen g3. Oh, okay.
Invitation for a trade.
Yeah, and Wesley with the invitation for a draw by going back to f6. But I guess that Dominguez will not accept that invitation.
Not 100% sure, really. Could go either way. Although, once again, Dominguez has to ask himself the question, where does he stand a chance? Because he has to win the match. He has to try to win the match. And I think Wesley is a greater favorite in the blitz section. I think so, because he has the high rating and he scores better in blitz against Dominguez, like this 2017 champion showdown in St. Louis, which I mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley was very dominant. So I think Dominguez wants to use the opportunity right now, and this weakened king side gives him some hope that there might be a potential for an attack.
Yes. And after queen f3, Wesley does not go queen g5.
You mean if black plays queen g5?
No, black just played rook a7 and... Oh, wait. No, I missed a move. I think I missed a move.
He has to bring the rook in the game because the rook on a7 is not doing anything really. So
yeah, but after... oh, sorry. So many things are happening. Never mind my question.
Okay.
That knight on f4 looks so nice. But if it can get kicked away with g3 at some point, that king on h8 is looking very, very weak. We could already imagine some helicopter chess with the queen coming from f3 to h7 at some point. Black has some threats in this position.
Wait, but I can already take on e5 now. I mean, this looks...
There's no knight takes g2.
Oh. Okay, this I didn't see. I thought only about my ideas, rook e5, rook h5. I mean, I didn't see knight g2. That's a very valid point. D takes knight g2, maybe there's something also here. Queen e4. Queen
he does actually take on d5. So I want to know what's wrong with knight takes g2.
Knight
Is
g2,
it queen d3?
Yeah, maybe.
Wow, queen d3 threatening. What an intermediate move. And this has actually been played.
Yeah, this is played. Very quickly, let's check the other game. Wojtaszek against Rapport. What is changing here? Nothing really, but Wojtaszek is trying desperately to create some chances. But king f1, these pawns on f6 and h6 made fine targets. I would say that Rapport is still easily holding this. But let's go back to the action.
So you were saying here, rook takes e4. Queen takes f2. The engine is going crazy. Is there rook f4?
What? Rook f4 is queen f4, no?
Oh, queen f4 with a check. Okay, so how about... okay.
Rook e2 actually looks killing. Rook e2, queen f4 check.
And you just want to take on g2?
Although there might... What?
King h1? Okay, so he's threatening rook f4 now.
Okay, Dominguez is down in 18 seconds. The clock is ticking, but this huge threat of checkmate on h7 is hanging in the air, and the bar says Wesley's done.
And how are you going to defend against it? Rook f5, rook e5. Maybe. G6.
You know, by the way, very quickly, Ellen, rook e2 check, I think it was 91.
Take on f8 and take on d3?
Yeah. And
oh, intermediate take.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't take on d3 immediately.
Yeah, that was very, very nice trap. So king h1.
But king h1, what a move. Just stepping out of all the checks on f4, any knight moves.
Wesley is about to lose this, to be honest, because how do you defend against rook e2? How do you defend against queen h7? And once again, we go back to this moment when he played this h5.
I'm very sorry to interrupt, but the game between Richard Rapport and Radoslav Wojtaszek has officially ended in a draw, meaning that Rapport will advance to the semifinals, playing against Nakamura. We will be here tomorrow to join the action.
Yeah, this is gonna be fantastic, and Rapport has made an amazing job to come back from literally nothing. He was so close, just sitting on a 50% score, and somehow he made it even worse. It was something like -1. He came back, and a miracle.
In a 6-round tournament, this is not easy.
Yeah, and now he confidently beat Wojtaszek in the tiebreaks.
Very, very confidently, for sure.
But the question is, what is Wesley supposed to do here? There's just no moves. I mean, what do you play here? There's rook e2, rook g4, knight h4, rook h4. That's it. G6.
Rook takes h5. Rook takes h5. I can see this tactic. Woo!
Dominguez qualifies. Dominguez meets in the semifinal against Levon, Aronian. Wesley so is out.
Wow, and what a game. You know, when you're Lenier Dominguez, you lost in this variation against Wesley So in the classical portion, but now making this comeback in this complex structure, and those were some very, very nice tactics. King h1, absolutely crazy move. I loved it. Also, just not being afraid of knight takes g2. I think that was so nice.
So we would dare to say that Wesley was on the wrong side of the tactics because he was trying to go for this attack. I already didn't like this h5. I mean, this was very, you know, with this bishop on c2 potential, opening this along the yak. This was such a risky choice. But Wesley felt that, I mean, since this is a rapid game, he has to try. He has to try to take over the game. And here, he went for this crazy tactics, rook e5. I guess he simply miscalculated the entire idea of queen d3, e4. I guess he saw it from afar, but amazing king h1, and suddenly there's just no defense. And what's quite amazing, Ellen, is that both players made their revenge, meaning Dominguez lost to Wesley in the classical section. He beat him in the tiebreaks. He was able to come back, another comeback. And also Rapport lost to Wojtaszek in the classical games round 1. And also he was able to make a comeback and beat in the tiebreaks.
Yeah, I mean, could it be better? We do now have the official semifinals. Rapport against Nakamura and Dominguez against Aronian. It will be incredible. And don't forget, we will be here, Arturs and myself, tomorrow at 3 p.m. CET to do the commentary of these two semifinal games. What I really like about this is that now we will be able to have a deep dive into these positions. During the pool stage of the tournament, of course, we had so many games to cover. It was impossible to go through all of them. And tomorrow, we will just be able to go so deep into the positions to really find out what is going on and to really give the viewers, hopefully, some nice variations, some nice commentary, and just talk so much about chess.
Yeah, that's very nicely said, and we also will pay more attention now that taking into account that we have so much more time. Also, what they have played before, comparing with the actual theory, what's popular, what's not popular, compare, etc. So in depth indeed. cover the game in detail and not maybe jump so much between those 8 games, which is usually really quite challenging. Wow. Apparently this was quite a short tiebreak. I was at least expecting a blitz match, at least in one of the pairing, but it never happened.
Yeah, me too. I actually thought that the Dominguez So game would go quite comfortably into the blitz section, but I guess neither player wanted this.
Yep.
So yeah.
And by the way, it makes a very nice timing because it's not going to be very long until the Chess24 Premium Arena is going to start today. What time was it? 6 p.m. or 5 p.m.? Please correct me, Ellen.
6 p.m. CET. We do have the Premium Arena for Chess24 Premium members, joined by none other than GM Shahryar Mamedjarov and GM Liam Kwang Lei, 2 amazingly strong players. And don't forget, if you really, really want to play in this arena, you do have the option of going premium with the code LOVECHESS, because we do have Valentine's Day coming up soon. And Arturs, I know that we will be doing the commentary together on Valentine's Day. I know what I will be wearing already, and I hope that we will be matching. So, you know, I'm just laying it out there. I will be wearing red. I hope that you have a red shirt also. You know, could be nice.
A red shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. Not sure. I have to check for it. Yeah, I think I do.
Okay, that would be very nice because, you know, I think it could be cool doing some kind of Valentine's theme stream.
Oh, my goodness. I guess we are going to see. No promises, really. All right, listen, we are finishing our broadcast here. Quite a short day compared to this very long day yesterday, but this also means a little rest for everybody, including us. So we'll be seeing you tomorrow at 3 p.m. as usual, 3 p.m. Central European time with the semifinals first game. Once again, Dominguez against Aronian and Rapport against Hikaru Nakamura.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game. And get paired with players from around the world, fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.